So hello and welcome. This is Erica Glessing, and I'm just still so thrilled to be with you here on the show. We're looking at 2018 energy. It's so different. I love this 2018 energy. It's a lot more Erica than 2017 energy. My guest today is a phenomenal #1 international best-selling author. She's a transformation genius. I don't really even know how to explain her in really like traditional boring words. So why don't we just bring on Julie Oreson Perkins and let you share, Julie, with us. Why don't you share with us, like, if you're coming into a new year, what sorts of things can we do to take advantage of that? How can we take advantage of it being a new year?
Well, you know, the new year always is symbolized by time to change, right? So time to get those resolutions and to create some change. So what I always invite my clients to do is keep the change part and keep the choice to change, right? And be really gentle with yourself about the whole resolution part, because people have ended up using the resolution part against them, making a goal, and when they don't make it, they beat themselves up over it, and then they either give up or they beat themselves up some more, and then they let it lapse, and then the next year they start all over again.
Or the energy I got from that was I flashed on it in a flash when you were first saying change. It's like, if we're asking for a big hairy change, like, 7 times the income, or, being in a love relationship after having no love relationship, or a really massive shift of everything in your world. Can that happen in 24 hours, right? Like, don't get impatient. That's what I got when you said that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a patience thing. It's also such a kindness and gentleness thing. So, if a friend came to you and said all the things that you are saying you would like change in, what would you say to him or her? You would probably say those same kinds of things like you're talking about. Just, hey, this, wherever you're at, didn't happen overnight. And wherever you'd like to go, is it also going to happen overnight? And yes, just the choice to change things will start the energy moving, and then be willing to be open and go and follow the energy wherever it's taking you. Because that's the other thing that you can capitalize on now, is that, not only riding the wave of change, we can use that to our advantage, but we can also ride the wave of it never shows up like you think it's going to show up. So, the people who start out at the beginning of the year saying, I want to lose, 30 pounds or something like that, but they end up with more money in their bank account. Well, is that the change that they were looking for? Just some change that enhances their life? Well, maybe it showed up in your bank account instead of off your body,
Right.
So just be willing to follow the energy without any judgment.
Wow.
And stay with you. Stay present. Stick with yourself. Stay present. And move and follow that energy. Become an energetic bloodhound. Follow the energy.
What if you have something like an addiction, like a physical, like you have to have sugar, or you have to have caffeine, or a lot of people use the new year to start something like that. If you really want to shift something like that, like an addiction, alcohol, caffeine, sugar, one of those things, things that I like a lot. What's something that you can recommend for people who are trying to change kind of a big habit?
Yeah, so, habits, again, there's a lot of neuroscience and research that shows about how long it takes to develop a habit. And so, for me, that's like, all right, so if it didn't happen overnight, then chances are it's not going to change overnight too. So that's the first thing, is just be aware of that the change needs to be in your focus for probably more than a couple seconds. Okay? It's like, well, I asked for that, and then I just went on with the rest of my life, and then it just didn't happen. Well, have you been focusing on that? Have you been giving that attention? energy, time have you been investing in that?
Wow.
Have you been changing the behavior? You know, so I think it's like that. You know, it's kind of like, well, I added the thing to my shopping cart online, and I clicked submit, and then it's done. You know, that's kind of the world that we're living in, right? You know, it's like, well, wait a minute. So energetically, it doesn't work that way. Not in my universe, not in my world. You need to have a little more attention on that. So that would be the first thing that I would say to people like that. And then the second thing I would say is arm yourself with a couple really good questions. And one of my favorite questions around this is, what's the value of that? So what's the value of all the caffeine? What's the benefit of all the sugar? What's the benefit of, you know, what are you getting out of that? And is there some other way to get what it is that you or your body requires beyond that soul source? Those would be some of the things I would look at for people in those places that are looking to make some changes this year.
I love it. Julie, this is so much fun chatting with you about this. I would be remiss not to talk a little bit about our beautiful new book, Earth Healing, and your fabulous contribution in that book. Julie was actually, when the vision for the book showed up, Julie was the very first author to say yes to that book. And when the first author comes in a group book, that really gives the book a physical body, right? Mm-hmm. Like that is the place where it goes from thought to it's going to actually now be a book, because there is an author contributing who's writing a chapter and contributing to that creation being real. So why don't you share with me kind of what that was like for you being in the book Earth Healing, and then just kind of any thing you want to share with our listeners on getting that deeper connection with Earth.
Yeah, and so thank you again for the invitation to be part of that book, because it was so clear to me. Talk about following the energy. It went right there, right to this book. And so, you know, my love affair with the earth is not only decades old for me in this lifetime, but it's just a lifetime after lifetime love affair and communing with the earth. And the fabulous authors have put together some amazing things. And one of the things that I talked about in my chapter, which was titled Healing Earth and Bodies with Communion, was actually becoming that communion, not just a connection. So not just that, like, again, into the shopping cart, pushing submit, and then it's done. Not like, I'm going to connect with the earth for 10 minutes. Okay, I'm done. You know, it's like, no, in communion, having the relationship that where everything is contributing and gifting and receiving simultaneity, that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And that can heal on so many levels. Good. Yeah. It's the proverbial good for the earth, good for you too. Good for your body, it's good for everybody. How was it for you? It's good for all of us. How does it get any better? So I'm encouraging all the readers to grab your copy of the Earth Healing book and really enjoy your bodies and nature and the earth this year. That would be my wish for you.
You know, I'm still kind of going back to, like, it doesn't show up how you think it will. Wow, right?
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And it's the same with the earth. Just because we love the earth doesn't mean that it's not going to erupt in volcanoes. It's not going to burn wildfires through, large populated areas. It's not going to, shake and quake and earthquakes and have tsunamis. Just because you love it doesn't mean it's not going to do what it needs to do, Right. So it never shows up like you think it will.
Julie,
be willing to be in communion.
How can we find you? How can we learn more about you and maybe even hire you for some of your gorgeous transformation work?
Thank you, Erica. The best way to reach me is through my website, which is www.julieoperkins.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Erica.